The Swedish National Championship has just concluded and Ljungman got top 8 with Maliss. How do you feel?
I feel okay. As always, when you get knocked out in Top Cut, you want to get further, but at the same time, it was nice to first get my first top at Swedish Nationals.
Finally beat the curse.
Yeah, it's been a curse of mine, even though I've done better at bigger events. But yeah, finally succeeded like somewhat at the home turf, so that's nice. Yeah, so let's get into the deck profile. First, the obvious parts. We play all the 10 Maliss names. This card is not semi-limited, if you missed that, so definitely play free. Then I only play 2 field spell, no terraforming. I feel like terraforming, it loses to too many cards. It loses to Detonator, loses to Ash Blossom. It also loses to Bell, Bricks and Multiples. And then the deck is, the way I built it at least, I felt like it was consistent enough without it, and it's by far your worst starter because of the reasons I listed, I feel. And then Gold Sark, it's not plagued by a lot of the issues I just mentioned, so obviously you play it. And then I wanted to increase my consistency with Allure of Darkness instead. Helps you unbrick normal summons, helps you play through interactions on your normal summon. It unbricks the normal summon cards, lets you extend, and then also you can draw into a lot of the non-engine I play as well when you play into boards. So it's a engine card with a lot of extra utility.
Do you keep a little post side?
I do, yeah. Generally, post side, you kind of need power cards. Like for one, people don't always shotgun Lancia. I'd say it's kind of rare at this point that they do, because they want to trade with Gold Sark or force you to commit like a Dormouse to board or something. So in a lot of game state, it turns into pot of greed basically, or kind of a lose-lose scenario for them. Mm-hmm. So yeah, I do keep it in post side. And then we have the Ignister cards. These can also get Maliss names for consistency. One is enough. I've experimented with different numbers of these, but they kind of this is the correct ratio to play, I'd say. I tried I Meet You, it's not that good. I tried more Wizard, it's also not good.
Did you like multiple wizards to beat Lancia, or what was the reasoning behind that?
Well, I only played the one Wizard.
Yeah, but you said you tested with multiples before.
Oh yeah, that was part of the reason, and then I also felt like the non-engine this format was kind of like lackluster because the decks are so strong. So then I figured at some point that I'd only play like more engine to play through the weaker hand traps, but that kind of didn't pan out. You kind of have to play the somewhat usable non-engine cards and then hope for the best, and hopefully you can pair them with the stronger non-engine cards to go second. Like Wizard and cards like that will never be enough. So
yeah, that makes sense.
And then we have the 2 Bistles. They are the part of the somewhat good non-engines, I'd say. And then in this deck, of course, there are also extenders. I tried without them, but in the end, from testing and then also through the event, I did like the 2 cards, especially this card is very good, of course.
No Boulder?
No Boldrake. It's definitely, it's like a lot worse than these 2 for like obvious reasons. Like if there was a world where I could play Magnamut and have it search a card without like having to play the Druid's Worm for it, then I wouldn't play the Druid's Worm. But obviously you need something to search with the Magnamut, so therefore Druid's Worm is also here, and it's okay. But like definitely I never missed Boldrake, or I felt like I wanted more of them, because it doesn't really do enough, I feel. And then obvious Droll, everyone plays it, everyone knows why. Same for Fualos. This was the only Mulch army I chose to play in the main deck. Obviously this is like a smaller net, so it's more diverse when it comes to deck types, but also even for bigger tournaments, I feel like Perulia and then obviously also Meows doesn't have enough coverage into all the different possible mixer variants. And then also the more Mulch armies you play, the bigger chance you have to have like dead cards and dead non-engine when you first, and when they Mulch army you, if you have a lot of Mulch armies. and you already started to commit cards on board, it can be really bad for you. So I felt like the trade-off for more wasn't worth it, since they're not guaranteed to be really powerful cards. That's for probably on Meows, of course, but Fua has a lot of coverage and is generally the most powerful into. Well, I'm rambling about Foolos. Everyone knows that the card is really good. Kind of why.
So it's not like Ryseal, we can summon it to make a rank 4. You also always normal summon the Dormouse or Rabbit, while Ryseal can sometimes use their X to start and extend it.
I will say that it came up a fair amount of times where I did like make the Almirage with the the normal summonable hand traps, but it's definitely a lot worse than making rank 4s in the Ryseal deck. And you already have like a lot of normal summons in this deck with the Maliss cards, etc. Ash stops Mole Charmes, it's okay, can interact somewhat good with the Mitsu cards. And then Impulse, one of the reasons to play this deck. Kind of boring to talk about. Everyone who plays Malice plays Impulse. I did play 3 Metatronus for my non-engine slots, like the more debatable non-engine slots. I see people play a lot of different cards for this slot. It's like Nibiru, the Baldrakes, Imperm even. I felt like this was like a better option than all those cards. It can be more powerful, especially in the mirror match, and then against the Mitsu Ryseal variants. And then against all the like rogue decks, you can find the targets against most of them, and then in other scenarios your deck is just better, so it's not too bad to have like a dead card typically, and then you side them out. And it's definitely more important to have a reliable answer to Detonator. And I do accompany these with some cards in the extra deck to make them more consistent to have in the main deck. And then last 3 cards in the main deck is just the 3 Malice, like, what do we call these? Engine requirements, kind of end board pieces. Obviously they're also like extenders in some way, shape or form. I do feel like this is worth the main deck. I also want to touch on TB11. I see a lot of clowning about people playing it, but I do feel like there's some specific reasons to play TB11. Mainly it helps you extend through Nibiru better, but since Nibiru has lost some like popularity in the format, I've chosen to not include TB11 in this version of the deck, but there's still a lot of value to playing the GWC, at least I feel, so I decided to include it. And I also disagree with it necessarily being bad going second, because usually it's not uncommon that your win con when going second is you have to kill them. And having the ability to set a trap that gives you 1 more body compared to MTP, because you will probably already access the Dormouse or multiple Malice names, it can give you that last extra body to secure lethal. So it's not too bad. So that's the main deck. Let's do extra. The Almirage, it did come up 2 times, I think, and those 2 times I won because I had it, so it was very good. Link Spider came out once, and I needed it to win, so another obvious inclusion. 2 Lingeribo. I tried Link Disciple, but the second Lingeribo and the effect came up a lot more than the extra attribute for Access Code Talker, so I do think you should play 2 of these. And then Link 2s, everyone plays them. Link 3s, everyone plays them. Link 4s, everyone plays this. Bomber, at this point, everyone plays this. I was very sad when I saw people start to include this in the list. I played this since YCS Vegas, but now people caught on like a long time ago. So people are prepared for it, but it's still a very powerful card, so it doesn't really need a surprise factor or anything. And then for the last 3 spots, I elected to play Metatronus targets. I felt like literally every other option that people are putting into these slots, whether it be like Haggard Lizardos or like Firewall, A-Code Talker, Endboard, all that stuff was just very superfluous. And like, if you just look through deck profiles of people playing those cards, they will like slam the card down and they will say, I never summoned it. And it's like, of course you never summoned it. The card doesn't come up, so why is it in your deck list? So I wanted to utilize the extra deck slots to make the Metaltronus in my main deck like a viable main deck option. So obviously this for Raizo, this for Mitsu cards, and then this is for Fiendsmiths. I think you can probably skip this for like larger tournaments, but I do felt like for this, it wasn't unreasonable to play into X Fiendsmith decks, and then you need it for Caesar and then the
Were there
Fiendsmith
any
engine
other
itself.
considerations for the Metaltronus targets?
I did consider Firewall, which is actually in my side deck, but this is like okay. You can use it versus like Kriston, for example, on the Cyber Dragon Infinity. You can use it against White Forest under 2/5 lights, but it's like it's not that good, and then you don't really summon it as like part of the end board. I'm doing the Wicked Bomber for the like rare times you actually get to the full end board, which is like part of the reason why this and ACOD felt very like superfluous to me. Yeah, this was the other consideration, but it wasn't. It didn't really come up as a Metaltronus target. It's also like 2/5 is a stat you have from the Bestials already, and 2/5 dragons are quite common, so that already lines up. It would be for the aforementioned matchups, but yeah. So I guess let's do side deck. This was the 15th card I put into my side deck. It wasn't good. I summoned it 3 times, game 2 and 3, after siding it in, never from Metaltronus. And every time I did, it was horrible. So I would definitely not play this again. I just didn't know what to put into my side deck for the last slots. But moving on to the good part of my side deck, I guess. The rest of the Molshamis, they're all very powerful cards. They put in a lot of work. It's very good against Maliss, Mitsuraiso, obvious stuff. It's good for your non-engine to draw your cards to ensure that you can actually play and push through half boards that you're putting up. And then I elected to play Dimension Shifter for the Rogue matchups. It would have been very good if I drew it. I sided in a lot, but you also have to see it, so what can you do? But I would play it again, I feel. It's also like some of the decks, like Mermail, for example, or like White Forest, they can be so oppressive. So even if it's like a small chance to have an answer to those decks, it's just one card in your side deck and no other card can do what Dimension Shifter does at that point. So that's kind of why it's in here. And then I guess let's start with some going first cards. I played Solemns. It's wider coverage than a card like Mistaken Arrest. You can side this into more cards. It covers like the Maliss matchup, for example. And it kind of works out with the dynamic in my read of how the Maliss matchup should be played.
What was the reasoning for 4?
Just side deck patterns. Basically, I wanted one more card to take out in the Maliss matchup going first, so then I added a Solemn, basically. In retrospect, maybe it could have been 5, cut the Firewall or something, replace one of my non-engines with a more powerful non-engine going first. Would have utilized the 15th slot better than the useless Firewall. But this was fine for side deck patterns. And then more going first cards, Call By, and also Talents. These cards, well, this is for going first, and then this is also for going first, and then last card in my side deck is Duster. I side these in together with the Molshamis to ensure that I have enough impactful cards to draw into with my Molshamis. That's also a reason why I do like the Metaltronus a lot. Well, in addition to being able to be drawn off a lure and being used, as opposed to a card like Nibiru, for example, I feel like these are more, they're generally better when you draw them off of the Molshamis than the Nibirus or the other options, I feel. Yeah, they're simply more powerful cards. So yeah, that was the deck list. I guess one thing to point out and address is there's no Lancia in this side deck. I think that the way the Maliss mirror plays, the Lancia is not a very good card. Shockingly enough, right? It can be very oppressive, but there's been a lot of very oppressive cards in the sense that they're powerful throughout the years that didn't end up being very good. I feel like the Featherstorm, this format is a prime example. It's very powerful, very toxic. Nobody likes getting hit with it, but it's not a very good card just because it can be powerful. For one, I feel like hands where you draw Molch armies with Lancia becomes really awkward because you want to Molch army them to draw into more cards. You typically side out some amount of engines, so maybe you need the draws of the Molch army, but then you also have it with Lancia, so then your Lancia ends up kind of sitting there because it's not like you can let them play a bit and then Lancia them, because at that point the Lancia doesn't do enough. So then you have to Lancia, and then they probably, they might not play at all. And then you have the Molch armies not drawing your cards. And then also, it kind of ties into cards like these, because in the scenarios where you full turn stop them with a card like Lancia, and they just set a card like this, you haven't drawn a card, you only expended a card, and then when they try to play, you can flip a card like Strike. And then when they pass back to you, which is the majority of the time, especially since I also play cards like Metaltronus for the mirror, it ends up working out really well because they're simply too far behind on card advantage, having thrown the Lancia without getting cards back and then getting striked or Metaltronus or something on their play, and then obviously you didn't expend any cards because you were on the Lancia. You can again play on the next turn and win that way.
What do you strike against the mirror?
Well, depends on which card they let me strike. Typically it will be the Link Freeze. I do think that going second in the mirror, you should try to go for SP on their back rows if you can, just because then you're up one link material basically compared to going into the Link Freeze, into the strike. And then also this won't be stuck in the graveyard having to be put back, etc. So, but typically you would get to strike the Link Freeze, and people don't really expect strike as well anymore, since people have moved on to Mistaken Arrest and the like. So I did like the Solemns. I would play them again. With that said, that's the deck profile. I guess for shoutouts to Frozen Card Gaming, Storm of Ragnarok, the Swedish Yu-Gi-Oh community, Albin and Oregon, the people I hung out with the most this weekend. There's too many people to mention. Sorry if I forgot you. Love you all. Thanks.